Thank you for taking the time to review this information regarding our plans for reopening the sanctuary for in-person indoor worship starting this Sunday, October 4th. The information in this update is extensive, but we feel it's important for everyone to know. We've posted an outline of this conversation on our website, as well as a link to it in the email that we're distributing this video in. So if you want to review in more detail and have a copy of that, it's available to you. We sent out a survey a couple of weeks ago about your plans for returning to in-person worship. And we thank you for providing that information. We received about 112 surveys, which we feel represented about 238 people. So 30% of the respondents said that they would return to in-person worship as soon as it's available. 36% said that they wouldn't return immediately, but they would likely come in the near future as COVID trends, if COVID trends begin to get better. 21% said that they would not return until there's a COVID vaccine. So given these results, as well as historic attendance patterns, we anticipate that our initial in-person attendance will be around 50 people or so, maybe more, maybe less, but that's kind of where we're thinking. Of course, that means that our live stream audience will be our primary worshiping congregation, so we want to make sure that our live stream is as high quality as possible so that the 2/3 or more percentage of our congregation that's worshiping online will have the very best experience possible. The staff and the trustees have made some important updates to our facility that we want to share with you. As I shared in the past, we've installed additional hand sanitizing stations throughout the building, so those will be available to you. The trustees have also installed an ionization air purifier in the HVAC systems in the sanctuary so that will cleanse the air. We also reviewed the COVID aerosol study for performing artists, and it suggested that we would have a minimum air change rate of 1 time per hour with a suggested air change rate of 3 times per hour. So we reviewed the air change rates of all of the spaces in our building, and the sanctuary came in at 3.9 air changes per hour. So we're getting more air changes per hour than is recommended by the aerosol study. So that's a good thing. We feel confident that our airflow is more than sufficient for what we need to have for a COVID response. We've also installed a new sidewalk that will extend from the doors at the back of the sanctuary all the way out to the parking lot, so that those who want to limit their time in the building can come and go directly from the sanctuary. And in the future weeks, we will be installing touchless fixtures in our restrooms to ensure additional hand sanitizing and additional cleanliness for all people. Now, the worship service will be a little bit different. The first thing that we have decided to do is to change the worship service time to 10 a.m. every Sunday, so that we will have a little bit more time before worship to prepare all of the sound and video and all of the technology that needs to be in place to ensure a high quality live stream and preparation for worship that is being broadcast live from the sanctuary. So we ask that you would not arrive before 9:45. The live stream will begin at 9:45 with slides and some music, and then worship will begin promptly at 10 a.m. So we wanted to make sure that you were aware of that and you could plan your schedules accordingly. There will be one service initially with music that's provided by both our contemporary and our traditional teams. We will not have a 11 o'clock worship service outdoors like we have for the past 2 months. We will be going down to just one worship service every Sunday. Following the order from the governor and the Ohio Department of Health, masks will be required at all times in the sanctuary, masks that cover the nose, the chin, and the mouth. And so we would ask that you have those ready. If you don't have a mask, we will be providing them at the doors. And following the policy of the Dublin City Schools, we'll be requiring masks for children who are in kindergarten and above. All of the singers and other worship leaders up front will wear masks at all times, with one one exception. I was on a conference call with the Franklin County Department of Health and other faith leaders in the county, and they said that the person speaking at the pulpit or the podium would not need to wear a mask. So I won't be wearing a mask when I'm preaching. Part of that reasoning for that is so that those who have difficulty with hearing can read and rely on reading lips will be able to understand things a little bit better. We recognize, we've measured that the pulpit is about 15 to 20 feet away from the very first pew, so there will be appropriate physical distancing for that. All gathering for worship will need to take, and for fellowship will need to take place outside. Our fellowship hall will be closed, and once you are inside the building, we're going to ask that you proceed straight into the sanctuary and take your seat, and then exit the building immediately following the worship service. So you can fellowship outside as long as you like, and we hope that the weather will stay nice so that we can continue that fellowship. We just won't be able to have that fellowship time indoors. Ushers will be dismissing the congregation by rows, and those who want to limit their time in the sanctuary, as I said before, can be able to exit out the sidewalk straight out the back doors of the sanctuary. To limit gathering in the narthex, we have removed all the coat hangers from the coat racks, and recognizing that the physical distancing inside the sanctuary will allow for any coats and things to be placed. We will be allowing congregational singing during worship. We have reviewed the findings of that aerosol study that was done by the International Coalition of the Performing Arts, and they indicated that indoor singing is allowable as long as we continue to have a physical distance of 6 feet or more, as well as everyone is wearing well-fitting masks, and singing is less than 30 minutes straight with 5-minute breaks between an extended time of singing. They also, as I said, recommended that the air change rates be 1 time per hour at a minimum, 3 times per hour as a preference or as a recommendation, and as a reminder, the sanctuary is at 3.5 or 3.9 times per hour the air is exchanged through the room. So we will be able to sing, but as we sing, we ask that you sing loudly from your hearts and softly from your lips, just to encourage or to enable there to be the least amount of aerosol spray as possible. For communion, we will not be receiving communion inside the room. We will have communion elements that are individually sealed. You can pick them up on your way out of the sanctuary and then consume them when it is safe to do so outside, when it's safe to take your masks off. Everyone will be asked to register their attendance so that if we do hear of a case of COVID that happened to one of the people who was in attendance at our church services, that we can let you know so that you can take appropriate measures. We'll have a basket available for all offerings, so we won't be passing the plate in the pews. There will be no bulletin or other printed materials until further notice. So those are the things that we will be doing for our worship services so that you can be prepared for what to experience. For children's ministry on Sunday mornings, we have decided that we will be offering nursery care and preschool Sunday school to our children. We recognize that children under 5 years old are the squirreliest during worship. They have the most difficulty sitting still, and we also have successfully reopened our preschool and our Parents Morning Out programs and have a high level of confidence in our ability to provide appropriate care to that age range, especially this age range that does not require physical distancing. We are working on our plans for reopening Sunday school for elementary and youth groups and are waiting until kids get used to a physical distancing experience in school and develop those good habits that they're learning in school and then can translate those to their time here in church. As we reopen for Sunday school for elementary and youth, we will be following the lead of the Dublin City Schools on their best practices for physical distancing. So we'll try to make it as much of a common experience to what they experience at school as possible. We'll have the check-in of children and the printing of name tags be a touchless experience, either by printing from a Bluetooth app that you can get on your phone, or having one of our children's ministry leaders type the information in for you and then hand the stickers over to you. So in conclusion, we want you to remember to please stay home if you feel sick, or if you have any of the symptoms of COVID-19, or have been in contact with anyone who has been tested positive for COVID-19. And we want to say that we are continually thankful for your patience and your grace. While many people have thoughtfully prepared for our reopening for worship, and many of us maybe have even overthought this process, it's likely that we will discover some things that nobody thought of, and we'll say to ourselves, gosh, why didn't we think of that? It is also likely that we will need to continue to adapt and change things as we learn and as we experience more things. We wanted to start small and begin to build from there, so I think you'll experience that starting this Sunday. We also recognize that as we have installed new technology for our live stream, things may need to be tweaked and adjusted as we experience what that live stream service feels like on Sunday mornings, as we learn to adapt to that new technology. So again, thank you for your patience, thank you for your grace, thank you for taking the time to listen to and review these plans that we've put in place. And whether or not you feel comfortable coming to in-person worship, we want to provide you the very best experience that we can. So until we meet again, as I always say, may God hold you in the palm of God's hand. God bless.